Have you ever met someone and felt an almost immediate sense of connection? You felt understood, you felt known, you felt like this person somehow got you in a way that few others had. Maybe they seemed fascinated by your story, hanging on every word, interested in your dreams, attentive to your struggles, curious about your childhood, supportive of your goals. And maybe you found yourself thinking, wow, finally, somebody really sees me. But then, months or years later, something becomes painfully confusing. The man who once seemed to understand you better than anyone now seems incapable of understanding you at all. The man who once listened so intently now dismisses and ignores your concerns. The man who once appeared deeply connected to your inner world now seems like profoundly disconnected from it. And you find yourself asking, like, what happened? Was it all fake? Was it manipulation from the beginning? Was any of it real? Today, I want to talk about that dynamic that many women experience but struggle to put words around. It's something psychologists call mirroring. And understanding it can help explain one of the most confusing parts of relationships involving narcissistic traits. Before we dive in, if these videos help you make sense of your experience, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking for support, education, and a community of women who understand these dynamics, I invite you to join the free Detox Your Marriage community on School. You'll find the link below. Now, let's talk about mirrors, because the most dangerous mirror is the one you don't realize you're looking at. Many women assume they fell in love with a man who deeply understood them. But often what's happening is something more complicated. They fell in love with a reflection. Let me explain. When healthy people get to know each other, they gradually reveal themselves. It's a natural and incremental back and forth, a mutual exchange. Two people learning who the other person actually is and allowing the other person to learn who they actually are. But in relationships involving significant narcissistic traits, something different can happen. Instead of him revealing himself, the individual becomes highly skilled at studying you. They learn what matters to you, what excites you, what hurts you, what you fear, what you long for, what kind of relationship you've always wanted, right down to the values you cherish, the experiences that shaped you. And then something subtle occurs. Rather than showing you who they are, they begin reflecting back what you most want to see. And you see how that goes? So he's giving you back your values, your dreams, your interests, your hopes. And so it's almost like standing in front of a mirror. Hey, I'm Dr. Don, and I want to announce something I built specifically for people who are exhausted from doing all the right things, the therapy, the journaling, the self-help books, and still feeling stuck. Here's what most people don't tell you about trauma recovery. It's not a willpower problem. It's not a mindset problem. It's a nervous system problem. And until someone gives you a map for that, you're going to keep spinning. My new book, The Trauma Recovery Blueprint, is that map. It's 30 years of clinical work distilled into a step-by-step framework that takes you from surviving to actually living and flourishing again. No fluff, no vague advice, just a clear, proven path forward. You can grab it on Amazon now. The link is right below this video. And if it changes something for you, I want to hear about it. Leave a review and tell me what you got out of it to help you get unstuck. All right? Now, back to your regularly scheduled video. You believe you're seeing another person, but much of it is just you're seeing yourself reflected back. And this is one of the reasons in early relationships it can feel so magical, because the connection feels effortless for you. The chemistry is amazing, and the compatibility is uncanny. But here's the painful reality. Being reflected is not the same thing as being known. I need to say that again. Being reflected is not the same as being known. Because genuine intimacy requires two real people. Mirroring only requires one. That's why many women eventually experience a strange sense of emotional whiplash. Years later, like we've heard this time and time again in our private coaching, how did I not see this? Who is this person? Why does he seem so different now? Often it's because the reflection phase gradually gives way to the reality. And over time, his performance of mirroring you back to you becomes harder to maintain. And of course, he feels like, he's set the hook in you. And so needs emerge, conflicts emerge, disappointments emerge. And suddenly the person who seems so perfectly aligned with you begins showing characteristics that were largely hidden before. Who is this man? And that can be profoundly disorienting. Because your nervous system is trying to reconcile two completely different versions of this guy. The man who seemed deeply empathetic and the man who seems remarkably devoid of empathy. The man who seemed endlessly interested and the man who seems largely self-focused. The man who seemed emotionally available, the man who's defensive, dismissive, or indifferent. Many women spend years trying to recover the man that they met in the beginning, trying to get back to what they experienced, trying to find a version of him again. But here's the difficult question you need to sit with. What if what you were attached to and attracted to wasn't entirely him? What if part of what you felt was so intoxicating was seeing your own hopes reflected back to you? That realization can be painful. But it can also be incredibly freeing because it changes the question. Instead of asking, how do I get him back? You begin asking a more helpful question, which is, who was he actually? And that's a totally different conversation. Now, I want to be careful here. Not every intense early relationship is manipulation. It's not what I'm saying. Not every person with narcissistic traits is consciously plotting or scheming. Many people engage in these dynamics kind of automatically and unconsciously without fully realizing that they're doing it. The effect, however, can still be really confusing, particularly, and we've seen this, for women who are empathetic, caring, because empathetic women often assume that attention equals intimacy and curiosity equals empathy. But those things aren't necessarily the same. Someone can gather enormous amounts of information about you without ever truly connecting to you. Think about that. Think about a skilled salesperson may learn a tremendous amount about a customer, or a police detective may learn a tremendous amount about a suspect, right? Knowledge alone is not intimacy. That's what I'm saying. Intimacy requires mutuality, reciprocity, reciprocal vulnerability, and mutual accountability. The ability to remain emotionally connected even when reality becomes uncomfortable. And as the relationship develops and evolves, that's often where the cracks begin to appear. Because genuine intimacy gets tested by conflict, gets tested by disappointment. It gets tested by accountability. It gets tested when one partner says, that hurt me, I need something different. Or I disagree, I see things differently. Or I've got concerns about what's happening. That's when you discover whether the connection was built on reality or a reflective mirror. Because real intimacy deepens under truth, under challenge, under disappointment. And false intimacy collapses under those things. And this is where many women begin the process of waking up. Not because they suddenly stopped loving or became cynical, but because they began distinguishing between being seen and being mirrored, being studied versus being loved, because they're not the same thing. In fact, one of the themes I explore in my forthcoming book, The RSVP Protocol, Reclaim Your Life, Your Voice, Yourself Without Leaving Your Marriage, is how women begin reconnecting to with reality after years of confusion, self-doubt, and emotional distortion. That book is going to be available in just a few weeks, and I think many women will find language for experiences they've been struggling with for years. So let me leave you with this. If you're beginning to realize that what felt like deep understanding may actually have been a reflection, please don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed, don't call yourself foolish, and don't criticize yourself. Because that desire to be known is deeply human. The desire to connect is deeply human. It's not weakness, it's part of what makes us human. The goal isn't to stop wanting connection. The goal is learning to recognize the difference between connection and reflection. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. You can also join our free Detox Your Marriage community on School using a link down below. If you would like help understanding your specific situation, you can schedule a complimentary consultation call. Link for that is down below. And until next time, protect your peace, trust what you're learning, and remember, being reflected, it can feel intoxicating, but being genuinely known is something entirely different.